guys, welcome back to another vlog. Today is going to be another productive day as a software engineer working from home. Okay, so this morning I made a dashboard. If you don't know, by the way, I'm making an AI Pomodoro timer. And so the goal is to help people reach their goals and focus better, be more productive. And so still pretty new, but last month I had a goal of getting $25 in app revenue, and I went way past that. Not crazy, but basically I got like $100, around $100 in revenue. So that's why I said, it sounds like a low goal, and $100 is not a lot, but it's for the first month of actually having the app out and taking it seriously. So it's not too bad. So basically quadrupled my goal, which is cool. This month I have a goal of making $150. So hopefully I quadruple that again, but who knows? Okay, I'm gonna take you guys over here. So I also don't just want to make money, obviously, with this app. I want to actually help people. And so my goal for helping people is basically helping them focus more consistently. And so you can see my second goal, and they're in no particular order, is to increase basically if they come back the next week and focus again. So right now that's at about 14%, and I want to increase that to 20%. So that means like 20% of the people that focus on the first day, they come back in a week. Okay, so I'll show you the dashboard that I made, and this is pretty much it. If you don't know, here's the focus timer. It's a normal Pomodoro timer on this page, but it also has a habit tracker, and it has goals, and it has content that's supposed to help you with your goals, get motivated and stuff like that. And it also has a focus session summary where you can see your past sessions and your daily time. And then it also has down here a messaging feature to chat with me. And finally, you can also switch the animation to different animations and make custom ones. So typically at a tech company, there will be a different team that manages each one of those features. Like, for example, at Complete Example, nothing to do with internal stuff because I did work there. I worked on Instagram app. They'll have a team that manages like DMs. They'll have a team that manages the content feed. They'll have a team that manages safety and security, privacy. And each one of those teams has their own dashboard, and they make sure that that feature is doing well because it all contributes to the broader app. And so for me, I made just one chart for each one of these features. So first I have my daily active users, which is how many people are using it per day. And then I have how many people are using the habit tracker, and it's compared to the daily active users. So you can see like a little bit about, what percentage of people that use the focus are actually using the habit tracker. Then I also have the goal tracker usage. I have the boost content usage. I have the messaging usage. I have the focus summary usage right here. And I have the timer animations usage. So it looks like most people are interested in the focus summary. And I think the other products, they're still valuable. It's just, that's not what people come to the app for. But it doesn't mean that those features aren't helpful for people. Like, I use the habit tracker and goal tracker every day, and I like them. And so maybe it just means that I need to make them better. So given that, I have a bunch of ideas on how I'm going to make the app better and make it more helpful for people reaching goals. And I will go through those right now. So one of the goals of the app is to help people help people. So I was thinking, okay, maybe you can have people share a tip, like, a tip about LeetCode or something like that, or just like some motivational quote or some content that they found inspirational. And then an agent, instead of like having them match up the tip with someone who would benefit from it, because then you have to share data with people, I'll have an agent that matches up the tip with someone who could use it. So that's one idea. And then the sharer of the tip can see how much they've helped other people just by sharing that tip. And I think that would get people to come back to the app to see how helpful they've been and give them more motivation to keep going themselves. because they know that they're helping people. Okay, second idea is a you versus you dashboard. So instead of having just the dashboard like I have right now, I want people to be able to see their performance, like how many goals they've reached and how many focus sessions they've done versus what they were doing last week. So that means that they can try to improve week to week and get better over time. Okay, I'm just gonna run through these. Okay, I also want to be able to create different goal periods, like yearly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and separate them into categories. And then I also want to, so I have that chat feature, right, at the bottom right. I want to make that into an agent, and I will get into that a little bit more in a second. And then also, oh yeah, so it is a paid app pretty much. There's a little bit different experience for different people, but I'm testing it out. But I wanted to make it so that users can share a focused time lapse, just like the ones that I make on Instagram or TikTok. And if they do that and keep it up for a month, then they get a free month of using the Pomodoro timer. And then finally, I also want to do auto habit tracking for some habits, but that is pretty advanced so that you don't have to check it off manually. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make the agent. Since it's like just the very early stages of making the agent, you're not going to know if it's me talking or the agent talking, because if I just make the agent and put it out there, I'm basically going to be monitoring it like all the time to make sure it's doing the right thing and not just, spewing out something dumb. And so that means that I'm basically going to be modifying messages so that they're actually relevant. So I'm going to make the agent, but it might be me doing a lot of manual work up until it gets a little bit better. Okay, I'm also going to do the you versus you dashboard, just something really simple like this week versus last week. And then I gotta make some content because I am a creator, and then record this vlog and lift. So it's gonna be a productive day. Hopefully that wasn't too long of a rant, but hope you guys stick with me, and I hope you have a productive day too. By the way, subscribe if you are not subscribed. I have to say that, I always forget it. But yeah, let's get it. I'm gonna have some breakfast. Back from a walk, and it's funny because sometimes I'll go on the Boost feed to get like a video that I want to watch during my walks or whatever, something like a little bit longer, like 15 minutes. And I actually didn't find one on the feed, but I did see something that I wanted to look up on YouTube. And so I looked it up and watched it. It was this Y Combinator video from 2014. And it was funny because the 3 videos were like really relevant to the app that I'm building. So, well, 2 of them were, and then the last one was like really interesting. So the first one was they were trying to teach people how to code. And if you learn this concept in coding, you move forward in like a game, like a video game. And so they're basically trying to solve a similar problem where it's like, how do you motivate people and keep people engaged with learning something that is tedious and difficult and long-term? And then the second one, so that's really relevant. And then the second one was these people that were trying to get people to learn a skill over 100 days by posting a video of themselves learning the skill. And it was like skill, like someone dancing for 100 days and like showing their progress over time. But the community keeps them accountable because they see the videos. And so obviously that's kind of relevant with me trying to get people to post the time-lapse video using the Pomodoro timer. And then the last one was just interesting because it was the YC, the Y Combinator office hours interview for the CEO of what is now Flexport. So Flexport's like this huge successful startup, and it was just him doing the fireside chat or whatever with Paul Graham and Sam Altman before he even, he had 3 customers at the time. So that's the kind of content that motivates me, because it's like me seeing the CEO with 3 customers 10 years ago, and now he's like running this huge, big, successful startup company. And that's, it makes me think that it's possible and everything like that. So yeah, just an interesting story to share. But yeah, so now I'm going to do as much of this stuff as I can possibly do. Agent first. Let's get it. Yo, what's up, guys? So just got back from lunch. That's my weakness, is getting fast food for lunch, or like just, it's not always Chick-fil-A, like unhealthy fast food, but sometimes it's like Chipotle or like a salad or whatever bowl. But I've been trying to just eat at home, right? Because that's the wiser thing to do. Anyways, so yeah, I got the agent done. So it has, let me talk to you about the status of the agent. So right now, if you send a message to the chat in Boost Focus Timer, the app, you will get back responses from the agent, which is a Claude Sonnet 4.5 agent that has context of your goals, habits, and focus sessions, which I think is pretty cool. In the future, or kind of the next things I want to do, is make that agent be more proactive, so it can send messages if you need like some motivation or whatever, or to remind you to like check off a habit if it looks like you've done that, or that kind of stuff. And then also I want to integrate MCP stuff so that agent can actually, check off habits for you, or create goals, or suggest stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. I published it. It's not perfect, but as they say, done is better than perfect, and I agree with that. I actually think it's more like helpful is better than perfect. So as long as it's helpful, then, ship it. So yeah, so that's that. Also wanted to talk a little bit about privacy and security, because I got a comment about that today. And keep in mind, this comment was from a guy that was on Instagram, and he was basically just like poking at whatever he could poke at. But he was like, first he was like, why do we have to sign in? And I was like, because it's not just a timer. It's like habits and a goal tracker, and it's going to be a lot of other stuff too. So it makes sense to have an account. And then he was like, oh, I see you're doing habits and tracking activity. I hope that's like secure and privacy is a concern. I was like, yeah, of course it is. Okay. And for the record, from a random guy on YouTube, the record, I use the same security and privacy practices as any typical industry standard startup. And a lot of the times when you're coding with a coding assistant, it won't let you do dumb stuff that you might do if you weren't using a coding assistant. Like it generally follows common practices, like, what's an example? Like CORS security. So that's just an example. But at the same time, one of the big reasons that I'm actually making this content and being so open about it is because I want you guys to know that I have your guys' best interest in mind. And that's why I want to be real and like that the reason that I'm talking about this stuff at all, because I could just like not even talk about privacy or security and then it would probably get brought up less. But that's why I think a big part of it is actually being a creator, because then people can see what I'm actually like as a person, and you know, they can see my day-to-day life and what do I do, what do I focus on, what do I talk about, unlike some CEO or, you know, entrepreneur who just works behind the scenes and like doesn't talk about stuff except in like a privacy policy that no one's gonna read. Because I do have a privacy policy and a terms and conditions, and you're welcome to go through that. But yeah, this is like, I'm doing my best is what I'm saying. So I hope you guys know that. And I'm not doing anything stupid. Like all of the tables in the Supabase database have access, user level access control, which is a big thing. So they have, you know, policies in place. And yeah, I'm not doing anything like out of the ordinary. But like, obviously, one thing to note is that because Claude has context of user goals and habits and, you know, habits that you track in a habit tracker, not like everyday habits, like you going to the bathroom, unless you track that. But that data does get sent to Claude. And so that is a term in the privacy policy. If it's not, it will be for sure now. But that's like almost every app out there sends your data to a third party. And usually that third party is like Google Analytics or something. So I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I don't want to go too into that because it's kind of boring actually, but it actually is one of the biggest things on my mind for the past like 10 years. Just a little side note, like I got into machine learning and stuff because I was like, man, imagine if I had all my data and I could do like cool stuff with it. And then I realized like how everything actually works, and you actually need a lot more data to train a good model. But then LLMs came out and I was like, oh man, now I can leverage my data without having to have a bunch of users because the model can just basically have context of it. But ever since like 10 years ago, that has been, you can even ask like my former coworkers at Facebook, like I'm a huge advocate for privacy. The problem is that there's a trade-off between privacy and really good products. Like DuckDuckGo, which is privacy first, they don't really have as good of a search engine as Google. And that's because they don't have as good of a search model because they take privacy into account. I think that in order to get people to really care about privacy is that you have to prove that having your data private is going to give you a better product than if you gave it away. And I think that's actually true today, but it's in kind of a hard to explain way. It's like if I hold all my data and make an agent for myself that other people can use, instead of like giving all of my data to OpenAI or something for them to train an agent based on me, then I can capture the value of my uniqueness and my whatever kind of data that's unique about me that other people don't have, my experiences, in a way that they can't. So it's a big topic, but just know, if you didn't get any of that, like I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary that a normal tech company wouldn't do. And it's the world we live in today that's like everyone's just pretty much given up on privacy because they're all, you know, like they think it's like not possible to have apps where you can get the same benefit but still have your data private. So they've pretty much just given up. I haven't given up, but at the same time, I want to build a good product. And in order to do that, I'm just going to do what other tech companies do, which I think is like borderline questionable, but I totally understand the value of the data in building a good product. So I hope you guys get that. But yeah, this is a risky thing to say, I think, because there's a lot of concern there. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys get that. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do is the dashboard. For example, like even just a dashboard. If you guys use any app, they have the ability to like make any dashboard for themselves that they want. But I want to use your focus timer activity to help you. so that you can compete against you. And so that's why the next thing I'm making is a you versus you dashboard. Let's get it. Yo, what up? So I just got done with the you versus you dashboard. It's not super complicated or anything. It's literally like just you this week. Hold on, I gotta refresh that. That should be different. Yeah, okay, there it is. Basically, this is what was there before. It's the daily focus time. So it's how much you focused in minutes per day. And then this is new. So it's you this week versus last week. And I'm starting the week on Monday, and that's pretty self-explanatory, right? So you have you this week versus last week, and then you also have this daily comparison. So last week on Monday, I had 11 hours of focus time. But honestly, I think before, like last week, I think I was counting like lunch and stuff. Like I would time my lunches just to make sure that I wasn't spending too much time on lunch or whatever. And so that was probably counted in the focus time. But I think recently I started not doing that because I started using the dashboard and I didn't want the lunches to be in the total counts. So Monday's a little bit off, but these should be about right. But yeah, so now you can try to beat last week's focus score or focus time. And it's just a small improvement. I don't know if it'll be good or not. I don't know if people like it or not. I kind of like it already, just so I have something to go by. But yeah, and then you can also collapse these if you don't want to keep them open, and it stays like you can leave and come back and they're still collapsed. But yeah, there's logging for all this. Just a note on like more data stuff and like what is actually collected in the average app. Pretty much everything you can think of is collected. So like almost every button click is logged. So like literally, and why is it logged? Well, for example, for this app, I'm logging like if someone closes or opens a given section, because it tells me as the developer if they're interested in seeing that thing or not. Like if they just leave it on closed all the time, then I would know that they're not even interested in the you versus you dashboard or whatever. And so if these are all closed, that means that they're probably more interested in this page for the focus session history. So that means that I can make the product better and like get rid of the charts if no one's using the charts. But I wouldn't know that unless I logged that data and really tried to understand it. But yeah, that's just a note on data stuff again. That was literally like my whole job at Facebook when I worked there was to log data to help us improve our ranking models in order to improve our ranking algorithm. So I'm very familiar with data logging and it's so useful. Like a little note on that, not to go in too deep because I know this vlog's probably gonna be pretty long. But like, I wish that I could log a bunch of stuff about my life for my own use, right? Because I feel like if I knew every time how much protein I ate, how much water I drank, all that stuff, I wish I could log it really easily. And so, yeah. Actually, side note, speaking of that, I have been talking to some friends and we're just gonna work on fun projects together. So one of my friends, so I went over there last night. We were talking about like just fun projects to work on, and one of them is going to come over tonight, and we're going to talk about fun projects. I don't think that's not going to be in the vlog because we're like normal people. Not everyone wants to be on YouTube videos. So yeah, it's not going to be in the vlog. Maybe I'll show like a tiny clip of it or something. But yeah, I'm doing that, and I want to do that because that's how you really find people that you like to work with, and maybe one day want to start a company with, or even just like get to know each other as developers. It's like you work on fun stuff together. And so yeah, so we're just working on fun projects. Like no pressure to him to work on this with me, but if he wants to, like we can definitely talk about that. But just working on random, fun, useful projects, because that's how you have fun, man. That's how you gotta live life. Okay, now I'm going to make the content. I don't think I'm gonna get to lifting today, unfortunately. You know, pretty productive day, especially in terms of software engineering. So I know that's what you guys want to see. So let's keep being productive. Don't give up on me now. Let's get it. By the way, subscribe. Okay, now let's get it.